What's up guys, my name is Jellycut5 and welcome to the Astana versus Chelsea review, where Chelsea are able to come out on top with another 3 points bagged in the Conference League with a 3-1 victory. Before we do get into this review, if you haven't done so already, please hit that like button, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to hit that notification button so you never miss a video. I always mention it, by pressing the subscribe button it does help me out a massive bunch, and I want to try and get as many of you Chelsea fans on board for these particular bits of content. So Astana 1, Chelsea 3. Chelsea visited Kazakhstan in this Conference League fixture, coming into it with a completely perfect record, and we've extended that even further into our 5-game span. In our treacherous conditions in terms of the temperature, -11 it was reading in Kazakhstan today where the game took place. It was always that sense of you just didn't really know what was going to happen. Looking at the squad beforehand, you looked at it and you thought, you know what, we've got a lot of inexperienced players in this particular side. Enzo Maresca pretty much left all the bulk of the first team side, with a handful of academy graduates into the side also making a lot of first starts. Going into the game, as I mentioned, the confidence and things like that, the pitch was a bit strange, but we seemed to start the game fairly well, dominating possession, trying to get a feel for the game, trying to get a feel for the pitch more than anything, with the conditions that we were playing in, the actual quality of the pitch as well. Striker Mark Gui was really the standout, I felt like, in the first half, with 2 goals in 4 minutes between each other in the 14th minute and the 18th minute. First goal, really, really well fought. I mean, bearing in mind Mark is only 18, he's got a lot of striking prowess about him. He's got a lot of attacking minded thoughts, and he's got a lot of strength behind him also. The way he was able to body the defence and really go through it, I mean, in fairness, it was poor defending, and I don't really think we'll see that in the Premier League, but it took a lot of guts to do what he did, and he took it upon himself, and it was a very little bit of individual work, which was really nice to see, in fairness. And it didn't take too long to get his second at the same time. Kind of fumbled in after Pedro Neto put it across goal, and he was just lucky to be able to kind of get onto the end of it, and he was kind of bundled in fairness, but really happy with it nevertheless. He got his goal, which was really, really nice to see, and he was on for a hat-trick, but unfortunately he wasn't able to complete that. Near to the end of the first half, Kieran Dewsbury-Hall got an assist as he whipped a ball into the box, and Renato Vega managed to latch onto that one, where he remained in a decent goal. That's 2 goals in 5 for the Conference League fixtures so far, as he kind of adds to his tally. And then we did concede a goal right at the end of the first half. Tomasav, there was nothing that Jorgensen could fairly realistically do about it, in fairness. It was a very, very good effort. But with that half in mind, you know what, I felt like we played pretty well. With a lot of changes, bearing in mind we had a lot of academy players. Standouts for me were Josh Akipong and Raksaki. I felt that they probably looked like they was actually been in the squad for such a long time. Especially with Josh, always with Akipong. I felt like, obviously, with him not being in the squad for so long and not playing, I think it was an amount of 10 weeks this saga's been going on for before he does look like he's going to sign his contract. I thought he cemented his place really well in the side, to be honest. It was just lapses in concentration sometimes, but we're going to have that in the game, especially when you make so many changes. I mean, Enzo Maresca, in terms of game management itself and being able to kind of have it where he's left the bulk of his players out to be able to prioritise his Premier League match, but still put in a really good performance today, says something about the squad that we've got going. And no matter the faces on the pitch, it's got the same mentality all round, and everyone's got the same desire to win, which is really nice to see, in fairness. And it was a good victory for ourselves. We're pretty much now guaranteed for ourselves to go through. There's no doubt about that whatsoever. I think even if we were to not win both our games, we still pretty much were guaranteed it to be in the playoff places. So we're still sitting the top of the Conference League. I know we're waiting for the results for the other games for Liga Warsaw and so on, the other team that has kept up their perfect record within the Conference League. And the second half, I think it was a case of the substitutions that were made and things like that. And we had our chances, don't get me wrong, but just nothing really seemed to prove that much. Jorgensen got tested here and there, but I think the second half was a little bit more tamer compared to the first. The job was done in the first half. It was just about maintaining the result and being professional about it in the same time, but there could have been many goals from there, in fairness. Nothing controversial, nothing exciting, shall we say, but it was a job done, and that's what I like. It was a job done, 3 points on the board, a new team that we're playing against, and a whole load of new players that we're playing. I felt like we put in a really, really good performance. We got the result that we needed, really professional at the same time, and there's a lot of kind of look out in terms of the youth players that we did play, because I feel like there is a lot of desire for them to get into the squad, and it definitely shows the quality that they bring, because they are some real talented boys, it has to be said. So hopefully we'll see them in due course. This was the lineup that we played against Astana. it kind of reverted to a 3 at the back and then sometimes a 4 at the back, but we're going to stick with the 4-2-3-1 formation just to show you who did play. Jorgensen in goal. He's obviously been pretty much our cup keeper for the amount of time. Probably was the coldest man in Kazakhstan at that point in time, just being in the middle of that goal and not really having much movement. Had no chance on the first strike. Thomas Zav with a very, very clean strike on their goal. Made a couple of saves in the second half, but I wouldn't really say he got tested. I can't really say he had a bad performance, but I can't really say he had a good one. Not because of his own self, it was just the fact that he wasn't really tested enough. So only a 6.0 for Jorgensen. Renato Vega, I would go for a 7.2. Felt like he had put in a really, really good performance. Headed to make it 3-0. Made it look really easily. And was a pretty much quite casual in his defending, I felt. And he was pretty much winning every duel that he did come upon when needed. So a 7.2 for Renato Vega. Josh Akupong at 7.5 rating. Handed his first Chelsea start. Really happy because he hasn't played for like nearly 3 months now. So I think he just looked comfortable. He looked cool, calm and collected. And I think there really does have to be a discussion if Reece James is going to continue to be injured. Is this man to replace him? Can we put him into the side? Because as much as I hate to say it, I just don't see Reece James continuing in the way that he needs to be able to be successful at the club. As much as he has the desire to do so, I just don't think his fitness matches up to it. So he could potentially be a replacement without having to spend any money, and I feel like that's going to be the good positive thing. I know with PSR and things like that, they like to sell the youth academy players because it's a full profit, but at the same time, we do need to be keeping hold of these sort of players, and we do need to be signing them up because they're top quality players, and there's only going to be bigger clubs that are going to go in for them, and they're going to develop them as a player, and we're going to look back on it in a couple of years and go, do you know what? They should have been at our squad. So yeah, really, really good performance from Josh, it has to be said. Moving forward to the centre backs, Disasi and Tosin. I feel Tosin will be slightly frustrated in fairness because he's kind of competing between himself and Benoit Badiashile at the moment, where Wesley Fofana is currently injured. Didn't really have much chance to really to state his kind of case in some way, shall we say. One key interception in the first half, but there's nothing really called upon. I can't really say that he was good or bad. Same goes for Axel Disasi, captain for tonight, but realistically it was just didn't really seem to have to get out of second gear. So I can't say he had a bad performance. There was just nothing really good about it to say. So 6.0 for the two. Moving forward to the midfield, Raksaki, he made his first Chelsea start of his career. And I thought he was absolutely sublime in fairness. Didn't put a foot wrong. Second full debutant, looked really tired, tidy in awkward conditions in fairness. And a night to remember for himself. I felt he looked really comfortable. Even when he lost the ball to some poor passes due to the conditions on the pitch and so on because they wasn't used to it. He was first to be able to run up to his opposing defender or midfielder or attacker or whatever it was and try and win the ball, and that's what I really liked about his central role. Offered a lot, I felt like, and I felt like he had something to prove, and he really proved it today. So fair play to Raksaki on his debut. Really, really happy with that. And same from Dewsbury Hall. Looked alright, to be honest. Decent corner in for the header for Vega, and he kept the intensity up. He was always calling for the ball. I felt like he was making the right runs at the same time, and he was an active player in that midfield, and I felt like he did really well. So 7.1 for Raksaki and a 7.3 for Kieran at Dewsbury Hall. Moving forward to the attack, we had Tyreek George, Carney Chukwuemeka making his first start of the Enzo Maresca era, and Pedro Neto on the right hand side. Carney's had a long time to wait. He's been injured, he's been everything. It's hard to say on his career. Unlucky not to score in fairness. I feel like he impressed a lot and he did what he needed to do. He kind of made a lot of work about himself, made sure that he was here, there and everywhere. I mean, he tried to be anyway. And he was in the right place at the right time. He was just unlucky not to score. So 7.2 to Carney. I can't see himself with a future at Chelsea, whether we're going to sell him or loan him, but I hope whatever it is, it's going to be good for Carney because he is a good player. He is a very, very good player, and a few people have said it. I do doubt why we have made the signing Kieran Dewsbury Hall and not kept with Carney, but are they worried he's going to keep getting injured? Do they not believe the potential that he's got? I'm not too sure, but I feel like he's a stellar player. It's just really unlucky at this moment in time. He just hasn't really gotten the squad, and it's taken to December to get his first start. Firstly, moving to the right-hand side, Pedro Neto, 7.8 rating for Pedro today. He was obviously playing due to the fact that he's suspended for the Brentford game, so that was the only reason we saw this sort of experience within the side in Pedro Neto. Found it far too easy. I felt like it was just a kind of walking apart for himself, having to be picked due to suspension. I felt like he still had a kind of point to prove, knowing that the fact that if I can put in a good performance today, then there's no reason why you can't choose me after my suspension. Low cross for Gui's goal, and at the same time, he kept himself busy, proving a lot of problems on that right hand side for the defenders, cutting in, getting the balls in, and just doing what was needed to be done in that sense to be realistically kind of go on from there. So 7.8 for Neto and a 7.6 for Tyreek George. A lot of people doubt his ability, and in fairness, I felt like he was a really, really good kind of player to bring in fairness. A lot of versatility on that left-hand side. He hasn't started on the left this season, bearing in mind, so the first time he's actually started on the left-hand side. Shot cleared off the line, which was really unlucky, and it would have been his first Chelsea goal, and you could see he was really trying to work for that today. Really tried to put in a shift to be able to get his first Chelsea goal, and it's definitely coming. It's just when, but we should see him next Thursday against Shamrock Rovers, I'd feel. He's definitely got some time to do it then, and I would like to see it, in fairness, because Tyreek is a very, very good player, and another player that we need to keep on our squad, in fairness, because he's a great attacker. It's just finding the space with him to be able to play, but at the same time he's got a big, big future, and hopefully he can fulfil that potential in a Chelsea shirt. Finally, Mark Gui, probably his best night in a Chelsea shirt, in fairness. He's always showed a lot of effort. He scored against Noah, obviously, but he hasn't had that many goals for himself. Should have had a goal against Heidenheim. He had all the chances to do so, but this time he had the chances, and 2 chances fell to him in the open 20 minutes, and he was able to get his goal with that brilliant solo effort being his first. He's only going to get better and better, in my opinion, and at the same time it's just being able to kind of try to give him as many games as possible, and he could become a decent kind of future within Chelsea, and he's still very young. So I think for the fee that we picked him up for, I don't see why it's not a bad addition to our squad whatsoever. So that was the first 11 that did play, and then we made many substitutions with it. The substitutions were made in the second half to start off with. In the 46th minute, Atu Ampar came on for Pedro Neto. Youngster from Ghana handed his half-time debut, which was really nice to see. And again, he kept himself busy. Didn't really do a lot, but showed a lot of energy within the squad. And I felt like he had a point to prove there again. And it was nice to see a new name within the squad. Harvey Vale, a player that's been at Chelsea for years. I think Thomas Tuchel actually played him at one point. Harvey's got a lot of potential. It's just never really been fulfilled, in fairness. He had a good spell at Bristol Rovers, and one point he's a wing back, next minute he's an attacker. Very hard to really comment on it, but close to scoring with his first chance after coming off the bench for Carney Chukwuemeka in the 67th minute. Just wasn't to be, unfortunately, but really unlucky nevertheless. Shim Mukaya came on for Mark Gui in the 78th minute, but didn't really touch the ball, in fairness. I can't really comment on his performance. And Keanu Dyer, a player that I'm very familiar with, he was really kind of, again, just didn't have much time, showed a lot of energy in the few minutes that he was on, but can't really see to be able to comment on his actual kind of game itself. But nice to see the youth. Complete domination from Chelsea from minute 1 to minute 90. Shots, possession, everything. We was the top tip. Hopefully we can go into Brentford with a lot of confidence, and we've now rested a lot of players, so we should have a fresh squad for that. So let's see what we can do against Brentford. Preview coming on Saturday, and then we will wait until then. So that is it for this video. I hope you guys have enjoyed this one. Please like and subscribe for more content, and don't forget to hit that notification button so you never miss a video. Cheers.